The Audi Q7 was first released in 2006, so yeah, it's getting on a bit now. But it still remains fairly popular on account of its desirable badge and the fact it can seat 7 people. And I'll demonstrate that now by popping inside the car.
In the middle row, there is plenty of space for adults. The wide body and large footwells mean you can carry 3 abreast if you need to. There's still even enough knee room when you slide the middle row forward to make room for people in the very back. To be fair though, the rear seats are only really suitable for children, though there is a way adults can make themselves more comfortable. The Q7 is as good at carrying stuff as it is people. With the rear seats in place, the boot is almost as big as on an Audi A3. Fold them down and it's as large as it pretty much gets for an SUV at this price. With the middle row folded flat, the low bay is so gargantuan you could use it to host your own motorsport event. Storage is pretty good too, with cup holders in the very rear plus large door bins in the front and back doors.
So then, what about reliability? Well, because the Q7 has been around for quite a while now, any serious problems should have been ironed out. And anyway, Audi finished in the top 10 of all the manufacturers in the 2013 Driver Power Owner Satisfaction Survey. And if you click here, you can tell us about your car at driverpower.co.uk.
The Audi Q7 is only available with diesel power. There's a rapid 4.2 litre and 2 3-litre engines, both of which are quick enough for most people.
All the engines are smooth and quiet. In fact, this car is very relaxing to travel in at speed because while it might not look pretty aerodynamic, you hardly get any wind noise at all on the motorway, and there's not much tyre roar either.
At speed, the Q7 feels very planted as the air suspension lowers to make the car hunker down on the road for added stability. And of course, there's Grippy Quattro all-wheel drive in case the road gets slippy.
Also, the raised driving position, that gives you a good view out over lesser, cheaper vehicles. You've also got some big wing mirrors there, and the rear window's actually big as well, even the very rear quarter lights, so when you're, I don't know, pulling out of junctions or driveways and having to look over your shoulder, there's no real annoying blind spots.
Many Q7s can be seen in cities, and they're usually being driven by yummy mummies on the school run. And, ironically, this is where the Q7 starts to show its weaknesses.
First, there's the sheer size of this thing. Now, even though it comes with parking sensors as standard, it's still really hard to park. And maybe that's why all those yummy mummies don't even bother to find a space, and instead they just pull up right outside the school gates to drop their kids off and then cause traffic chaos.
Another issue is the ride quality. In comfort, it's generally okay, but over speed humps, the rear suspension doesn't have much give, and that means the person in the back can get a little bit of a jolt.
Believe it or not, there's actually dynamic mode, but you want to leave that well alone because it makes the ride even firmer and it gets quite crashy actually and a bit annoying. And there's no actual real payoff in terms of improved handling because, yeah, this is definitely not the best SUV for bombing down a British B road.
The Audi Q7 isn't the best SUV for off-roading either, as the Range Rover Sport is a way more capable all-terrain vehicle. Still, most owners will never take their SUVs on anything more severe than this.
Another problem with the Q7 is that it's not quite as safe as the Mercedes M-Class, and that might seem a little bit odd because look at it, yeah, it seems as tough as a tank and it's filled with loads of airbags and it's got ESP anti-skid control. But in the Euro NCAP safety test, it only scored 4 stars, whereas most of its main rivals, well, they all scored 5.
Finally, there's the interior. Sure, it feels well built, but it's really starting to show its age now, though admittedly, the beige and wood trim on this car doesn't exactly do it any favours. Neither does the small, low-definition digital screen. Speaking of which, satellite navigation is an optional extra, which is outrageous on a large SUV.
To be fair though, the Q7 does undercut its main rivals on price, and despite getting on a bit now, yeah, you know, it's still got plenty of curb appeal. But before you decide if it's the right SUV for you, you should check out our reviews of the Mercedes M-Class up here and the Range Rover Sport down there. And of course, once you've done that, click on our logo to subscribe to the CarBuyer YouTube channel.